Hi friends, I have another story for us about outer space. This book is called Roaring Rockets. The author is Tony Mitten and the illustrator is Ant Parker. Do you remember what an author does? An author is the one who writes the words in a story. Do you know what the illustrator does? The illustrator does the illustrations or draws the pictures. Roaring Rockets. Wow! Rockets have power. They rise and roar. This rocket's waiting, ready to soar. I noticed some rhyming words in this book. Rhyming words are words that sound the same at the end. Roar and soar. Roar, soar. That rhymes. Rockets carry astronauts with cool white suits, oxygen helmets, and moon boots. I hear two other rhyming words. Suits, boots, suits, boots. Whoosh! The countdown is finishing. 3, 2, 1. Action, blast off. The journey's begun. Where do you think this rocket is going? Do you remember the name of the scientists who work in a spaceship? Rockets have fuel in great big tanks. When they are empty, they drop away. Thanks. There's the fuel tank dropping away. Up in space, you're really light, so astronauts need to buckle up tight. In space, you're very light because there's no gravity. Gravity is what keeps us down on the ground when we're on Earth, where we live. But when they're in outer space and there's no gravity, they float up into the air if they're not buckled down with their seat belts. Rockets go far. Through space they zoom, reaching as far as the big round moon. I have a question. When you're looking at this story and you're looking at the characters, does this seem like it's a real story about real astronauts or a pretend story? Do you think most astronauts are chickens, bunnies, and bears or mice? Or are astronauts people that are scientists that go up into space? Most astronauts are people. There are a few animals that have gone up into space, but astronauts who run a spaceship all by themselves are typically people. Down comes the lander with legs out ready and fiery boosters to hold it steady. Do you remember where the astronauts landed? They landed on the moon. What do you think they're going to see when they're walking around on the moon? Out come the astronauts and plant their flag and scoop up samples in their moon rock bags. What do you think they're scooping up samples for? They're scooping up samples of moon rocks to do experiments and find out what kinds of things are on the moon. Rockets explore, through space they roam, but when they're done, they head back home. I hear some more rhyming words. Roam, home, roam, home. That rhymes. Where is home? Where do you think they're going back to? They're leaving the moon, and they're going to go back and land where? I see a clue. Do you know what planet that is, where we live? We live on the planet Earth. Rockets re-enter in a fiery flash to land in the sea with a sizzling splash. The helicopter carries the brave crew away. 3 cheers for astronauts. Hip, hip, hooray! Oh, this page is explaining some things about what astronauts use. This is an oxygen helmet, and it says we need to breathe oxygen, but there isn't any in outer space. So astronauts carry their own supply that flows into their helmets. Moon boots. Astronauts need to wear special protective clothing when they're walking on the moon. This is a lunar lander, and this takes the astronauts down from the rocket to land and walk around on the moon. And fuel tanks. These hold the fuel that makes the rocket go, just like we put gas in our cars. And this is called the command module. This is where the astronauts live on their way to and from the moon. I hope you have enjoyed my story called Roaring Rockets, my friends. And I hope that you take some time to think about what kinds of things you would want to do if you were an astronaut and where you would like to go.